some big developments in the off-season as Lewis Hamilton used a clause in his contract to stay with Mercedes after Ferrari has not made the progress expected in the off-season. Ferrari have brought on Dennis Hauger to partner Charles Leclerc. Kevin Magnussen has retired as well, opening a seat for Frederick Vesti.
A brand new season of F1 24 career mode has arrived. New liveries, new teams on the grid, with Audi coming in a season before the 2026 regulation changes, and our new team, Trackhouse Racing, the second American team to join the grid. As you see, a new livery for the Ferrari team, a few other teams as well this season featuring some new liveries, as well as Alpine now with Castrol Edge as one of their main sponsors on that car. Really slick green and blue livery right there. As Williams as well partnering now this season with Infinity and Komatsu as well, as you see a brand new livery on that Williams machine. Coming a new season 2 of this career mode. Hello everybody, hope you're all having a great day, and I hope you're ready for a new season and what is going to be one heck of a challenge. We are partnered alongside Carlos Sainz this season here as we try to take this Trackhouse Formula 1 car towards the front of the grid. The expectation, of course, isn't to win races as we start the season at the very bottom of the R&D. There was a regulation change over the offseason putting McLaren at the top now, as we did have enough R&D points at least to make some upgrades over the off season before we head into Bahrain, and we were actually able to get quite a significant development here. There's like 9 upgrades on the way, and we will get most of those completed hopefully before Bahrain. Once again, a 24 race calendar this season, but Chinese Grand Prix is substituted with Portimao, which will be later in the season. As Carlos Sainz, I found it interesting, our teammate is actually rated 96 overall, just like Max Verstappen is, which I was quite surprised by, as you see all the upgrades coming in right there, putting us now to the 3rd worst team on the grid. So still, it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy with Trackhouse Racing, the new American team on the grid, and this team coming in with Cadillac has opened the door for Andretti to get an opportunity to come to the grid as soon as next season, as we were now getting acclimated with our brand new team here with this Trackhouse group. Now, as you see the new colors on our helmet and our livery as well, looking absolutely fantastic as we get ready to settle in and make some laps for the first time with Trackhouse F1.
Hey Gary, it's Justin. It's not going to be an easy first half of the season or so, but this team is going to be champions with you. I'm looking forward to the ride.
Yep, 10-4. Justin, let's have a fun season. You hear us talking to our team owner, Justin Marks, here at Trackhouse Racing now, and a lot of exciting things on the way here in Season 2 of this F1 24 career mode. Now, with this Trackhouse Racing team, we came here mainly because they have a long-term project idea, a 3-season deal we signed with this team, and we are expected to be fighting for a championship by Season 3. The goal in Season 1 is to just get this team kind of into the midfield. The goal by the end of Season 2 is to be fighting for Grand Prix wins. The goal for Season 3 is to be winning Grand Prix and winning a championship, or fighting for a championship at the bare minimum. So it's going to be a lot of patience required, and it's going to take some time to see this project come to light over the course of this career mode. But the other thing that really gave us the idea of going to Trackhouse as well is their reach in other forms of motorsport as well. Of course, their NASCAR team, MotoGP, and other select motorsports as well. They promise us a ride in the 2025 Indianapolis 500, which will be this season, which would mean we will be having to skip the Monaco Grand Prix. Someone else will be behind the wheel of our car, but it's an opportunity you cannot pass up. In practice, we were P17, P20 respectively between myself and Carlos Sainz, leading us now into qualifying for this round opening session here in Bahrain, hoping, you know, for the best this weekend. Now, the expectation, not really sure really what to expect, you know. It could go either way. We could have maybe a top 15, we could be dead last, I'm really not sure. But as we roll through into qualifying, we're hoping for the best, and as well we'll be paying attention to how the new Audi team is doing as well. Keep in mind, Sebastian Vettel is the team principal of this brand new Audi team this season as well, with Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu behind the wheel of those two cars. You see immediately myself with a bit of a kick out of the rear end now, certainly not helping my lap, and it would be a pretty scrappy lap overall as we round this final turn, heading down the now front straightaway, and yeah, I was not very happy with it, and it was show. We were dead last, 1.3 seconds off of just advancing into the next round here now, so we roll through into now our last lap late in the session. A bit of a rough turn number 1, but no kick out of the rear end that time, and that allows us to gain 3/4 of a second, but we need a lot more than 4/10 of a second. Now we find half a second, but it's still going to require another, near a second gain off of that to be able to get where we need to be as we round turn 10, and we're finding some gains just a little by little here all throughout the circuit. 7/8 of a second of improvement as we come towards the end of the lap. Is it going to be enough to even gain a position? That's the big question now, as a few corners remain a little bit wide on the apex there, giving up some time. Final turn, getting right against the curb. Really happy with how we got through that final turn, and it's going to be just under 8.5 of improvement to the line. It's not enough. It's dead last here with Trackhouse as our teammate of Carlos Sainz slips through into P14, as it's going to be Zhou Guanyu, Sonoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent who returns to the grid, Vesti, and myself there in 22nd place. We have a lot of work to do, to say the least, now as we'll get ready to go to the grid for our first race in Season 2 with Trackhouse Racing.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best, of course, at turn 1, and then another soon after into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into that tight left-hander of turn 10. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Stroll, Hauger, Ocon, Bottas, Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Zhou, Sonoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Vesti, and Golden Boy. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
All right, Gary, good luck out there tonight. Long season, and we're hoping to progress as it goes on. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you, James. Our new team principal is also named James. We are going to elect to start on the soft compound tire tonight, going for the 2-stop strategy, as Carlos Sainz, however, will start on the medium. So let's get ready to roll.
Right, here we go then. The formation lap gets underway as the drivers prepare themselves for the first race of a brand new Formula One season. Each driver will be hoping to start this season on a high note.
Okay guys, this is going to take a lot of patience, so let's stay focused on the goal. Let's have fun.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Right mate, new team, new year, same mark. Hope you missed me in the off-season.
I totally forgot you existed, to be real with you, but nice to have you back, Mark. Let's have a good year. We're ready to roll. 2 rookies on the grid of Frederick Vesti for Haas, Dennis Hauger, who goes to Ferrari, as they had to make a sudden change of plans due to Lewis Hamilton and his contract situation, as you guys heard in the first part of the video. Now as we are ready to go racing, it's going to be lights out, and Season 2 is underway, and it's a great start for Oscar Piastri on the run towards turn 1 from pole position. Now he's looking for career win 1. He had a rough Season 1 of this career mode, but McLaren decided to give him another chance after we declined a contract with the team. As you see, lots of 3-wide action, but Max Verstappen has gotten through into P2 off the start here, so the Dutchman, now a 4-time world champion in Formula One, all consecutive, out in front of Norris at least, but not Oscar Piastri. As you can see, the Mercedes settling in, the Ferrari of Hauger a little ways down the grid compared to his teammate of Charles Leclerc. Hauger had no plans of being, with the Formula One Ferrari team, or even in Formula One at all, coming into the season. But after Lewis Hamilton had a clause in his contract saying if he wasn't confident that Ferrari would be better than his current Mercedes team going into the season, he would elect to stay with Mercedes. Well, that's what happened. Mercedes are better in the R&D after the regulation changes. He stayed with Mercedes, which also threw a bit of a kind of wrench in the plans of Mercedes as well, but I'm sure they're happy to keep him on board for this season now as we head into this final turn, and Tsunoda locks up there on the apex, kind of hurting our progress a little bit as we're in front of Logan Sargent, who Williams actually brings back to the grid surprisingly. I don't think anybody expected them to bring Sargent back on, but we'll see how that works out there for the United States driver now, as we're going to make an aggressive lunge up the inside of now 3 cars. Actually, we're 3 wide. Albon locked up on the apex there, a former teammate, and that was nearly a big moment there, as I was expecting to be just up the inside of Ricardo only, not expecting Albon to have that moment and go way left. So now we chunk in behind these two. We're up to P18 from 22nd. You cannot complain after just 1 lap to gain 4 positions. We are quite satisfied with that early on. Everybody around us on the soft compound tire, and we are all over the back, hounding the Australian of Daniel Ricciardo. We'll pull out a line, go to the right side now of him, and try to take the position away alongside into the braking zone. Not much of a contest there, as his blue and black Trackhouse Cadillac continues to move its way forward. Of course, Cadillac coming to the grid this season in a bid as well, after Trackhouse basically was able to convince the FIA and Formula One to get onto the grid with Cadillac. It's the opportunity now for Andretti to get onto the grid as soon as next season with Cadillac, as well as Lando Norris with a power move passing Verstappen into turn 1, makes it a McLaren 1-2, and it wasn't long after that where Lewis Hamilton actually locks up on the apex there and loses a few positions to his teammate of George Russell and Sergio Perez as well. He drops down to P7, the 7-time champ, searching number 8 this year. It's been since the Austrian Grand Prix last season since he's been at the top step of the podium. As for myself, now settling in here in P17. Now we're on a 2-stop strategy, and you can see my teammate just up ahead of Carlos Sainz in front of the Audi driver of Zhou Guanyu. So Sainz is on a 1-stop, which is going to, of course, eliminate a few seconds, but I feel like I'm confident more in pushing the whole race, which is what the 2-stop allows, where the 1-stop you have to be a little bit conservative as we go around the outside of Alex Albon, our former teammate at Williams. But overall, so far, quite happy with where the car is, P14 and P16, and we're running down Sainz as expected because he's on that medium compound tire. Zhou Guanyu in the Audi up the inside here. Now Sebastian Vettel, of course, team principal of this new team. Now 2 new power units, of course, on the grid this season with Audi and Cadillac now. But here we go, putting pressure on Sainz, who loses the spot to Zhou. I have to cover off Albon, who's up my inside. We slip, we slide, a nice little catch of the car right there as we continue on to lap number 5, the end of lap number 5. And we're all over the back of Carlos Sainz again, and he's lost DRS, I think, just about to Zhou Guanyu. So that's going to give us an opportunity. No, he still has it, but we are still reeling him in just a little bit. And on the run into turn number 1, right to the back of him, and actually the Spaniard locks up on the apex there in turn 1. He goes wide, he tucks immediately back in behind me, so he's able to catch it quite quickly, but we would take the position. But a lap later, you can see I'm still having a few moments here, slipping and sliding around on lap 7, and that's going to open the door for Sainz to fight back up the inside. Those mediums are going to come on at some point, but I'm going to not make it too difficult for Sainz, as our pit window as well is not far from being open. We're planning to come in at about the end of lap 9, but now Sainz no DRS, and we're going to give it back to him. A slow run up to the back of our Trackhouse teammate up the inside here now, as I think Sainz got a really good strategy here, and I'm already starting to question the 2-stop, but nonetheless, we get the job done. A little bit late there on the turn off. We went a little bit wide to the left side, and now that might give Sainz another opportunity. Yes, it will. He's going to fight back, and we might be teammates, but we are already not racing like it. At the same time, we're having some battles, but they're quite respectful here. I'm not really forcing the issue. If he's got a good run, I'm just letting him kind of go through right now and let him have that position. He can kind of take off into the distance now, as we'll tuck in behind him in P16 as we approach lap number 9. It's a McLaren 1-2, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, both drivers still seeking their first wins in Formula One. Fernando Alonso is going to kick off some pit stops here with Pierre Gasly. They're both on the 2-stop cycle, as now again passing Carlos Sainz down this front straightaway, using that over overtake, trying to not drain our battery too much on this run into turn number 1, but we get the job done there. Again, a little bit wide, but we're okay. We'll stay in position now, which is currently in P13, as we try to hold off Signs on towards the next corner, which we will do. So as we come in towards the tail end of lap 9, we are planning to pit here this lap, as we actually put a bit of a gap here by a few tenths of a second now on Carlos Sainz. But now, as you can see the rest of the field going forward, you can see Stroll and Ocon coming into the pits. Aston Martin has lost some ground with the regulation changes coming into the season. Lance Stroll had 3 consecutive podiums to end last season. He was on absolute fire. Things we've never seen out of Lance Stroll. Of course, he's been on the podium in Formula 1, but he's never been able to do it on a consistent manner, and finished last season with 3 consecutive podiums to end the season, including an impressive drive to pass Fernando Alonso at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So we know that Stroll suddenly has found something and is not the only Canadian on the grid that has found out how to drive an F1 car. So definitely going to be some competition now, I feel like, to be the best Canadian on the grid, where beforehand I didn't really feel like there was much competition, but now it certainly seems like there is. We complete our pit stop. We're in front of Alex Albon, who's actually elected to go on to the hard compound tire. So he goes on the hards on lap 10. He should be able to take those to the end. Lance Stroll in the same situation, 8 seconds up the road on the hards. He should be going to the end as well, as here comes the leader, Oscar Piastri, with about 2 seconds of an advantage over Norris. Verstappen's going to come in as well, and you saw the smoke out of the front wheels there of Piastri, the Australian, locked up coming in. Looks like he did get it down to pit speed, as he'll get a very easy stop there. He is committed to the one-stop strategy, so is just about everybody up front. Verstappen, Lando Norris, as well, as we're going to now come through to pass a bunch of cars, including our teammate of Carlos Sainz, who makes his pit stop, and Sainz as well, sure enough, goes onto the hards. Zhou Guanyu in the Audi, however, going on to the soft compound tires, so pits 1 lap later than me, so he will have to pit again. And as this next few moments were going on, Zhou's actually driving away from me a little bit here now, as Lando Norris is going to be coming into the pits at the end of lap 11. So this is going to be interesting. He'll be going onto the hards, but he's going to have a little bit fresher rubber than his teammate of Piastri, who was managing the gap to him. Well, that just a little bit fresher tire give Norris what he needs to be able to close in on Piastri as this Grand Prix goes on. He's going to have a comfortable gap to Verstappen, who I think had maybe a potential issue in his pit stop, because he certainly lost some time, but we're already seeing that, you know, Verstappen isn't quite where he needs to be, or Red Bull isn't where they need to be to start season number 2. Ferrari as well, they were ending season 1 quite strong. Leclerc, it was really becoming a consistent winner, and it now seems like maybe they are going to miss the ball at the beginning of the season as well, as yellow flags are out as we run P15, and it's the Frenchman of Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. It's going to be night over, the first mechanical failure and retirement of season 2. The Alpine, Pierre Gasly out for the night. Unfortunate way to kick off a season, and the perfect way to absolutely ruin your confidence within the reliability of your car at the beginning of a season here. Now lap 14, and you can see on the timing there on the top left, Zhou Guanyu, he's driven away from me right now, 2.3 seconds up the road, and he's closing in on his Audi teammate of Valtteri Bottas now. So it's going to get interesting there. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton actually bringing the fight to Fernando Alonso. He pitted a little bit after Alonso. He's on the hards compared to Alonso's mediums, but they are going wheel to wheel on the exit of the final turn. But look who's coming. Here comes Charles Leclerc, who's going to get that rear wing open as well. These two champions still side by side, 9 world championships between the two. Leclerc's going to make a 3 wide up the inside, looking for a 2-for-1 special. Who banks out of it? That's the big question. I think it's going to be Alonso. No, hold on, it's going to be both Alonso and Leclerc. Hamilton keeps his foot in it. He's showing the age, but he's certainly not afraid to get the elbows out. But Leclerc goes through nonetheless into P6, Hamilton 7th, Alonso just behind in 8th, as that's happening as well. A mechanical failure for the second time of the night, and now it's Yuki Tsunoda who's out of the Grand Prix in that V-carb, as we are slipping and sliding, trying to put ourselves out as well. Zhou Guanyu now has gotten past Valtteri Bottas and is putting a bit of a gap between the two of them now, almost 8/10 of a second, as we are already closing in on our second and final pit stop. Carlos Sainz, Albon just behind on the hards. They can both go to the end of this Grand Prix, and now I'm starting to be concerned in this 2-stop strategy because they're only 4 seconds behind. We're going to be putting on the medium compound tire but I don't think there's going to be enough time to run them down, so I think we may have screwed up on this two-stop strategy. Alonso's coming in for his second stop of the night, opening the pit window officially there, and there goes Esteban Ocon. These two pitted the same lap on the first time around, and they'll do it the second time around as well, as we are approaching the closing 10 laps of this opening Bahrain Grand Prix to kick off season number 2. And we've had some good battles so far in this race, not fully with me, but other cars as well, the AI. But at the end of lap 18, we're coming into the pits here, and we'll see what we can do, hoping for another solid second pit stop, but certainly starting to question. I think we should have been on the one-stop strategy. I think we made the wrong call on the two-stop.
Yeah, we wanted to try different strategies between you and Carlos. One stop was for sure the way to go. Sorry, mate.
And you hear Mark kind of apologizing there, because we are definitely not going to finish where I think this car was capable of getting, you know, a solid result here tonight. We're going to come up behind both Zhou and Bottas, who have made their pit stops as well. Logan Sargent making his stop, Ricciardo as well, all on the hards behind us, but a bit frustrated. Now, I was struggling on this opening lap here, slipping and sliding, having a hard time making apexes, getting the car slowed down. Everything was sucking right now, as we're going to go, however, through the grid with 10 laps to go.
Can Oscar Piastri hang on for 10 more laps? Norris is closing in on him in this thrilling season opener. Both drivers are seeking their first win here tonight.
He can certainly get there, and I think he will be there in just another lap or two. What a drive so far from both McLaren drivers, who are showing that Red Bull have some work to do going forward.
How about the Ferrari rookie Dennis Hauger? A bit of an awkward situation, of course, as it was supposed to be Lewis Hamilton in that car. Lewis, however, used a clause in his contract that allowed him to stay with Mercedes if he didn't believe in Ferrari's gains over the off-season. Hauger, however, running just one spot behind Charles Leclerc.
And how about Carlos Sainz, the first race for the new American team of Trackhouse Racing, and Sainz has put them in the points. That car was looking quite slow in testing. His teammate of Owen all the way back in 18th, a bit of a rough night for him to start his second season in Formula One.
The new Audi team scored in 15th and 16th, with the new team principal Sebastian Vettel commanding that team. We expected a driver lineup change, but it appears they are opting to wait until the 2026 shake-up.
And they are certainly not afraid to go wheel to wheel, it seems. Look at this. Joe goes through to take the position on Bottas.
Owen through now into 17th, as Albon has made an additional pit stop. He switched from hards to another set of hards.
A weird call there, maybe an issue with the Williams.
Ricciardo and Sargent line up the back of the grid. Sargent's teammate Alex Albon surprisingly pitted in the through the grid segment for another set of hards, and has absolutely blown the doors off of my car. But he goes through, takes the position, and you saw in through the grid, Lando Norris is running down Piastri, and he is on him. He is within DRS, and he would show it, because now as we come to lap 22, only 0.3 of a second between the two drivers, both fighting for their first win still in Formula One. Norris has been, nearly a decade of Formula One racing for this guy already, it feels like, and he still hasn't won a race, at least in the storyline of this career mode. But now he's wheel to wheel with Piastri. If he can complete this pass, it's game over, but he gets it done. Piastri drops a second, hold on, he has DRS, he fights back around the outside into the right-hander. Verstappen 7 seconds back, so these guys, they are free to fight it out, I'm sure. And as well, you hear some radio communication from the CEO of McLaren, Zach Brown.
They are free to fight, let them go at it.
You hear the comms from Zach Brown saying, hey, let them go. They can race. They have a good, comfortable gap to Max Verstappen. Not something you hear every day, especially in the last 5 years. So they are going to love that now, as the four-time champ doesn't quite have enough, and this battle is far from over. Lap 23 hitting 24. Norris again for a move. Piastri defends to the right side of the circuit now. Both of them wanting that first career win. Who's going to get it? As they are wheel to wheel into turn number 1. Keeping it respectful now. Piastri, a great wheel to wheel racer, one of the more clean ones on the grid, it seems like now, and he comes out ahead with the DRS, so he'll stay out in front again. He is going to have to defend for several more laps. It's not going to be easy for the Australian now, as we continue this on an island of our own, running P18, realizing we certainly made the wrong call on strategy. It is what it is there. We've already we're just focusing in on the next Grand Prix at this point, bringing it home here now, but the fight for the win is game on. Piastri leaves the door open to the inside. outside. Is this the moment for Norris to take control of the Bahrain Grand Prix? Still side by side, no contact between the two. They're racing hard, but they're keeping it clean. Now Norris gets that rear wing open. No, it's actually to Piastri. I think they're drag racing down the short chute into the right-hander, and now on the outside, Piastri stays ahead again. Lando Norris has to be losing his patience a little bit as that was happening. Leclerc with an aggressive lunge up the inside of Lewis Hamilton. They are battling for 6th and 7th position as well. How about Dennis Hauger, the guy that's taken the seat that Hamilton was expected to be in, up inside the top 8 as well. And Fernando Alonso on the two-stop strategy has run down our teammate of Carlos Sainz, who's done a heck of a job inside the top 10 on a one-stop strategy. Lance Stroll, it's worth noting, is down to 12th position. He currently has a mechanical issue, running a little bit slow, as now Norris again to the outside of Piastri. Lap 26, running out of time. Piastri ran up over that turn 1 curb, but it's not enough again. Piastri stays ahead one more time, coming to 3 laps to go at this point. Who's gonna come out on top now as we are continuing to just try and reel in some cars in front of us? Frederick Vesti in the Haas had been falling down the order. He was struggling in these closing laps on his wearing hard compound tires in his debut here in Formula 1, one of 2 rookies on the grid. Magnussen retired in the off-season. Now Lando Norris again up the inside. This might be the one. He got Piastri a little bit caught off guard. Near contact there again between the two. It's all crucial right here on who gets through there better. Well, they're dead even. It might be in the favor of Norris, who has the DRS. I think this is it. It is Lando Norris to the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it might be over. We know he has a bit fresher rubber, and he is making it count. Norris is going to try and drive away as now we set our sights on Frederick Vesti, who is really struggling in these closing laps, and this should be an easy pass as the laps go on. 3 laps to go for us now at this point, and you can see we're about to be within striking distance, about to be within DRS, I should say, of Frederick Vesti. Like I said, replacing the retiring in the offseason Kevin Magnussen. He's focusing in on sports car racing once again, as now we come through down the front straightaway. 2 laps to go, opening that rear wing on the back of Vesti. We'll breeze past him and move into P17. Still, that's about all we're going to be able to do. We are closing in on the cars in front. Albon tucked in behind Joe and Bottas, but we're just not going to have enough time, I don't think, to get to those drivers now. So it's, just about bringing it home at this point. Carlos Sainz is going to get a top 10 in the debut for Trackhouse, which is a huge moment now as Hamilton on the final lap up the inside of Leclerc. This battle's not over. Maybe a little bit of contact there on the side pod of Hamilton's Mercedes, and he goes around the outside. He takes the position, and it's all Lando Norris on the final lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix, 1.1 seconds ahead. It was going to be a first-time winner no matter who won between these two, but it's going to be Lando Norris winning his first race in Formula 1. McLaren 1-2 and a dominant start to the new season as we still have a whole lap of racing to go, but it's not going to be enough for us to run down the cars in front. And our teammate Carlos Sainz in the debut for Trackhouse Racing, the new American team on the grid. Sainz manages a point for Trackhouse.
Thank you, Carlos. What a night for our team. Points in debut. Thank you.
Wow, what a night, guys. That was unexpected. Great stuff.
And for us, we round the final turn down the front straightaway. A disappointing P17 in our debut for our new team here with Trackhouse Racing. Wasn't quite meant to be with the 2-stop strategy.
Sorry, boys. We had a better car than P17, I think. So let's keep our head held high.
Absolutely, mate. Sorry about that again. Let's focus ahead.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has landoed. It's Lando Norris for victory.
What a night for McLaren. We had a regulation change. It was only one single department, but it was enough to change things up, enough to put McLaren on top, and they are taking advantage, saying, hey, we're putting an end to this Verstappen dominance right here, right now in Season 2. Verstappen wins 4 consecutive championships, 69 wins, by the way, to his name. Looking for number 70. It's going to have to wait a little bit longer if McLaren are on this form all season long. What a drive from both drivers, as we hear from Oscar Piastri on the podium.
I just didn't have enough in that final run there. Tyres made a huge difference. Overall, I'm happy for Lando and the team. A great start to the year.
So you hear Oscar Piastri, I mean, he's overall happy for the team. I mean, you can't be disappointed, you know, with the second place effort. Of course, you could have won. That would have been nice. And he did a heck of a job defending and defending clean. That's the big thing. He kept it clean. And even when Lando was passing him, he still went out the clean way, which is the important thing for a young driver like Oscar Piastri. And hopefully, you know, soon enough we can be in those kinds of fights as well. But yeah, as well, the AI fix mod was great for this Grand Prix. It really separated things and made it look like a more natural F1 race again, which was awesome. Overall, one of my more fun races to record in this career mode so far. We're not going to bother looking at the standings, but how about Dennis Hauger? Debut gets P8, Vesti P19 for the other rookie there. But yeah, great run for Hauger, only one spot shy of his teammate of Charles Leclerc in debut. That does it for me. I'll see you guys next time in Jeddah. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.